Alright, welcome back to the first league racing related video, I guess, of F1 2018. So this is a pre-season race at DNS. We did one last week at Spain, we did another one this week in Germany. You can see, getting straight into it, the race is going to be wet near the end. I just hopped into... these are my first laps of the day. You can probably tell there as I extend straight away. One of my least favourite turns on this game, turn 1 Germany. So I obviously was forced to abandon that lap because obviously it was invalidated. So thankfully though, there's a lot more time in F1 2018 for a few more runs, and this is a nice short track. So we go for a second lap, save the ERS beforehand, and ran it at the end there, but we do 11.6 as a banker. So not too bad. I was happy enough. Anything in the 11s was good for me. First laps of the game, or sorry, first laps of the day. I'm using Australia set. I don't have a dedicated Germany setup. I'm using Australia setup and just tweak it. Second run, invalidated there. Coming near the end, it didn't look like I was going to improve anyways, but there you go. I invalidated that one. It was just marginally off. So I actually decided that was it for my second run because I thought, let me just save time, because I did a second run to begin with. Nice pit entrance there. I did a second run on my first stint. So on my first set of ultras, this is my second set of ultras, and I was really hoping to set a better time on this last run, because I was conscious I was starting on a set of ultras at the moment. Set of ultras that have done 2 runs. So here we go, end of the session basically. Had time for another lap, but I thought this was it. You can see we're up massively. Could have taken a bit more throttle. Could have gone throttle a bit sooner there into the last corner, but there you go, an 11.2, and that was good enough for me, and it was good enough for a pole position here in this lobby on this day. So good turnout for a pre-season race, I have to say. Lots of people around. So I think there's 13. Safety car was on. Whether it's obviously dynamic, you're going to see. That's stupid A racing, should be an S racing. But anyways, here's the race. There's where the rain is coming. So I thought, okay, let me alter the strategy. Let me go maybe set of mediums and go far into this race, and then hopefully by the time the rain comes, it'll be good to go for the Inter. So instead of doing possibly a 2-stop if the rain was coming that close near the end, so hang those out for as long as I can. And on the flip side, if it didn't get to a point where the wets were an option, maybe these mediums could go to the end. But anyways, here we go, 34 laps. Nova West in second, Trench in third, 5 red lights, and away we go. Not the best start from myself, and this turn 1 isn't going to help matters either. Again, I have to nail down this corner better. It's not one of my better ones, but I'm thinking I've survived this initial onslaught headed into, I think that's turn 2, wouldn't it? But here we go. This is where the area I knew, like, I've got to make sure I stick everything up here. So overtake mode for the higher gears, rich mixture, a lot of fuel on board. Go defensive, because this is going to be where the attack is going to come. Survive this one is all important. Heavy braking, inside line. I've got better traction. He's off the track a bit. Is Nova West. I can out traction him there. Stick it back into medium deployment. Leave them rich because I've got lots of fuel to burn. And now I can settle into the race. Now that I've survived that initial attack, I can now focus on the rest of the race. So that was important. I defended that because I didn't want to be behind anyone. I honestly wanted to defend the advantage I had from pole position. So very important to get that done. Defended that well, and now can focus on the rest of the race. The rain will come eventually, but for now, just focusing on keeping the critical eye. I'm always keeping an eye on those carcass temperatures and those tires to manage those carefully. Of course, the inside, the carcass, not the outside of it, the inside of it is where I need to be careful of. So lap 3 we move on to. We got a little bit of a buffer now to Caesar in second. And so actually someone else in the party is informed, checked the weather, and it was like in 10 to 15 minutes. I was like, what? So I checked it myself, and sure enough, 10 to 15 minutes was when the rain was coming. So I was like, whoa, that's soon. That's a lot sooner. I was expecting the rain to maybe come in like lap 28 or something, maybe lap 20, like 25, 26, 27, 28. But by that reckoning, it was going to be by lap, 15 or so, possibly even sooner. So anyways, pushing there, you can see like front carcass there it's getting worn a bit. This is actually my pit window, so lap 5. I'm just conscious that once these ultras are done, the carcass is worn a bit. Things don't really get better, so they're only going to get worse. And look at that carcass temperature there, 104. So these tires are getting near to the end of their life. As again, just checking the weather just to see where I was at. Still 10 to 15 minutes. Someone actually said it was 5 minutes away. So all this. Oops, I forgot to edit. Forgot to put a transition in there. So because how soon this rain was coming, I actually decided to switch to the softs. Because there's no point switching to the mediums if it's going to come as soon as this. So I switched to the softs just for a bit of performance boost. I had leading on to the inters then. So Caesar, who is obviously my teammate for this race, so he had to carry on. He couldn't stack behind me, so I can get the undercut on him. But not everything has gone according to plan, because I've pitted and this is a lot of traffic I've inserted myself into. But critically, I have fresh tires. Some of these guys are on worn softs, or older softs, and some of these are on worn inters, quite worn. So I knew the pace advantage would be quite strong at this stage. So anyways, we're heading down this long straight and seeing what's going to unfold here. HYT and Stefan are fighting there. Stefan very early braking. I can just hang around the outside, off the track a bit. We come back onto it, lots of space given. Probably didn't need to go out that far, but anyways, I did just in case. Stefan's onto the grass, a little bit of contact, but I get that move done. But we're not done here. There's Carl and HYT fighting ahead. Again, these guys have not stopped. It's Caesar, you can see, making his way through the stadium section. That's who I'm racing here. HYT in front, you might be able to hear the party chat. She's got wing damage. Goes wide, I switch late into the inside. Down we go into I think it's the Sachs curve. And just with more traction, better tyres and the front wing, I'm able to get that move done. You can see Trench, I think that's Nova West pulling into the pits. Carl on softs, he's carrying on. He started on those. So it was actually RWE, actually, not Nova West. Anyway, it's just much better run through turn 1. And this is going to be a fairly straightforward move in the end on Carl. So so lots of overtakes done on that lap, but a very important lap nonetheless to emerge from undamaged, unscathed, and now I can just press on with the rest of this stint and just wait for the rain basically. I saved some ERS to kind of push at this stage, but from this moment forward I put it back into medium because I know from this game a bit of contact there. Carl's gone for a bit ambitious move there and was spun. You can see it from behind. Check the weather report again. You're going to see it come up in a few minutes, or in a few seconds there. Thanks to the excellent system, sometimes it actually doesn't register, so you have to say it very, very clearly. So a few laps out yet. So again, I thought I made the right decision to switch to these softs instead of the mediums, and so lap 9 heading on to lap 10. Caesar's pitted. You see the gap is 3 or so seconds, 3.2 seconds. So you see it's definitely got darker. So I'm just kind of pushing. I'm trying to save ERS, and I haven't bumped it up into high or anything, just on medium. Lap 12, you can see it there. The rain has begun to fall. That big splash there. That's also a good you can just see. You can just basically. It's like a switch. It's like rain on, rain off, basically, and that was rain on. I thought Jeff was actually suggested a strategy to come onto the inter straight away after it started raining. It's like, surely not, but no, he just wanted me to ditch these softs for another. So obviously we're saying no to that, but the rain has begun to fall. Lap 15. I have to say the rain was falling, but it did not come quickly. So track did not took a while to actually lose its grip, lose its dryness basically. So lap 15 and lap 16 only 1.5 seconds slower. You can see the tyre wear there. There's a yellow flag. There's an accident ahead. Carl's out. Stefan is off, I think, as well. They're coming up to Archie as well. We're going lapping those guys. They're out. No safety car was deployed for that, so that was surprising. You can see the tyre wear getting up there a bit. Lap 19, you can see I've saved a bit of ERS again. What I was going to say was, in the wet, you can use a lot more ERS than you can in the dry. So that's why I wanted to save it. So you can see Caesar 2.2 seconds behind me. He was catching a bit. I don't know if he was in high deployment or higher deployment. I also switched it down into standard revs and not rich fuel mixture. So you can see actually DRS is still enabled. So again, I think some people may have come in at this stage for inters, but it was way too early. I think the guys, oh, you can see there, lap 22. Again, 1.5 seconds is the gap. Sorry, I thought that was something else there, but no, just lap 22. Track again. It's not. It's getting slower, no doubt, but it's not slow enough yet for the wet. At this point, I was worried. It's like, oh shoot, have I actually screwed up by going on the softs? You can see that the wear is quite high. They still felt okay. The track was getting a bit wet, bit worse, and then you can see I actually bumped up into high deployment because I was worried for a sec about possibly Caesar from behind. But here we go, lap 23. I think this is the lap. So you can see on the mini map there, that is Mercandies. He has retired from the race. He's binned it somewhere on that first turn, and the track was getting closer and closer to wet running. But here we go, the safety car is about to be deployed. There it is. Hello. As HYT retires. So this is perfect. So straight away sticking into low deployment. Probably should have stuck it into none, but low is enough for me. Inter's already had selected ready to go because it was inevitable that was going to happen, and this was the lap where it was timed. So by the time the safety car, even if the tyres hadn't been ready, by the time the safety car was in, it would have been. But I speeded to the pit lane. I did this in Baku as well on TMC. For some reason, I just wasn't paying attention. I thought, yeah, I'm moving slow enough, but of course that wasn't slow enough, and that's a very, very silly penalty to get. So Caesar at this point actually left the session, my teammate for this race. So he originally double stacked, but he had actually left because I think he was up early the next morning. He's in a location where it's very, very late, so he left for that reason. Anyways, what this did mean though was that my advantage would disappear, and I had a penalty as I pick up the safety car here. So not ideal. So I had a lot of work to do. I thought, shoot, I've thrown this away, haven't I? From an absolutely needless error. Lap 24, you could just see everyone's kind of catching up still, and you can see how slow the safety car is moving. It's slow, man. It was really slow. But lap 24, the rain's continuing to fall, so the right tyre is definitely the Inter's to be on. Even if it wasn't the right tyre coming into the pits at that moment, obviously by the time the safety car was coming in, that would be obviously, it would be ready. So again, you can see creeping 40 miles an hour, how slow it is. Come on, the safety car is not that slow in real life, I'm sure. I am almost certain. So Caesar isn't here. Almost hit into it actually. So yeah, just waiting really. Lap 25, you can see the rest of the pack has basically caught up. You can see that they're heading through there. So who I'm fighting really is Show George or Not on Pole. I didn't know if he had a penalty behind me. I knew I had a penalty now at this stage, but with my 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane, but didn't know what his situation was. You can see though the tyre carcass is actually getting quite cold, so I want to generate some temperature into these tyres because I want them to be ready to go by the time it's time to go racing again. So that's nice. It's nice that you have to do that now, kind of, to keep the tyres warm. But the rears are kind of harder to warm up than the fronts. But now 26 now, the race has actually flown by at this stage. Safety car is in this lap, so I unfortunately lost. I was so concerned about backing the pack up and keeping an eye on where the safety car was. You can see on the mini map it's the black marker, so I'm keeping an eye on it as to know when to get the jump. I put it into hot lap, so I'm ready to go. I actually forgot to warm the tyres up at this stage. You can see the carcasses are very, very cold, 50 degrees, 49 degrees. So I need to manage that better next time round. But for now, just waiting for the moment to jump. It's time right now to go. So I have to defend from Not on Pole. If I can keep it a good gap by the time we get down to the hairpin, turn 6 hairpin I believe it is, because turn 6 they count it, I'll be good. So careful breaking into this first corner. I make it through. I can see I've got a decent gap behind me, so I've calculated that restart well enough that I'm not under any immediate pressure, and now I can kind of just get these tyres up to temperature, ease my way on the throttle, just be careful with the modulation of it. I am a medium traction, so that does help somewhat. Sure, as a lot of the guys were behind me as well, so that does help. But I was modulating it quite a bit more than I needed to on medium, I have to say. Was taking very good care of these, and there you go. You can see lap 27, we're safely through this hairpin, and we're still in first. But now I've got a job to do. Got to get this gap out. I didn't know if Well, Trench is actually behind me for now, but not on pole would get them back. If they had penalties behind me, I knew Trench had a penalty, but I didn't know if not on pole had one. So that's what I'm looking out for at this stage. So I'm just trying to extend the gap as much as I can. Lap 30, you see the gap is 2.1 seconds. So I'm thinking, I might have lost this race. So Trench there left, he retired from the session. He had an accident coming out of turn 1. Heading on to the last lap now. The gap is 2.9 seconds, is it? Yes, I thought I'm really going to push this up. I can get to 3 seconds. That could be enough for me to get a safe buffer. But I wasn't sure. So I had to keep pushing. Even on this last lap. The car, I did want to step out a good bit, but I was able to save it. Final sector now. The gap, I believe, is still under 3 seconds, but I wasn't sure. We're going to win this race on the track, but will that be enough? We shall find out. I thought it was a very well managed race, I have to say, in terms of tyres, ERS, fuel. Thought it was all very well done. I win the race on the track, and it was enough. George had penalties behind me, and that was it. There's only so much you can use per lap. So it's that little white bar at the bottom. A very interesting race for sure. In terms of the strategy, the tire, like the safety car coming out, what tyres to go on, pitching when I did on the ultras when the carcass was going a bit, that left front was going, extending that stint on the softs as long as I could until again the safety car came out, made my decision for me, so I had to react to that. Dealing with the penalty then after that didn't help either. But a very interesting race, and that's why I thought it was worth uploading, because lots of different things going on, lots of things to manage, lots of some overtaking, lots of things going on, so I thought it was interesting to upload. So that's what I did. Anyways, if you can see there, I think we won. So you can see George there had 6 seconds worth of penalties. I had no extending track limits or corner cushion penalty, so it was just that drive through. Won by 4 seconds in the end. Joe Corby finished in third there, so good drive from him. And good drive from George as well, so who obviously started from 13th. But anyways, that's going to do it for this pre-season race of DNS. Not sure when we're starting, but should look in the starts when it starts. And yeah, until next time, hope you enjoyed this interesting and weird race.